Are you confused by bar chords and the CAGED system? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Blazing Guitars. So let's start by talking about the CAGED system. So the CAGED system is actually an acronym, and the acronym stands for the 5 chords that you can play open on standard tuning on the guitar. So we have C, A, G, E, and then D. And some of those have some minor chords like the A minor, E minor, and D minor. But we'll just stick with the major for right now. So we have C, A, G, E, D. Okay, so the problem with the CAGED system is that it's only 5 chords. So what you can do is you can take any of those chords and create a bar with your finger and slide them up to hit new chords. So let's take an E for example. So we have E. That's how I normally play it. But for a bar chord, we're going to play with the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers. Okay, and then with our index finger, we're going to slide that whole shape up, and then we're going to hold down all the strings with our index finger, creating a bar, and it's going to sound like this. Okay, so what we've done is we've taken our E and we've moved it up and created an F. Okay, now if we move it up further, we have a G, okay, which you can also play open. Now, why this is really cool is because you can create different voicings with different notes. So let's take E, D, and C for example. So it could sound like this. Or it could sound like this. You can hear that that sounds extremely different, right? So let's take a look at each of these 5 notes and see how we can bar them. So let's start with a C. So a C, instead of playing it like this, you can play it like this. Okay? So what I do when I play a C bar chord is just play the 4 middle strings, and that shape looks like this. Okay? Now if you wanted to, you could create that bar. Okay, and maybe you have like a specific song that really needs that note as you're playing. But for the most part, you can get away with just... Okay, now let's take our A. So the A is kind of challenging because normally I play an A like this, or a lot of people play it like this. Okay, now what you can do is take your A like that and bar it. You can see that it's kind of challenging. So what I normally do is just take my ring finger and bar it like this. Again, only hitting the 4 middle notes. And if you really want to, you can kind of bend your finger up so that you can play the full bar chord like this. Okay? So we have CAGED, C, A, and then G is actually pretty straightforward too. So you can do G 2 different ways. So instead of playing it like this, what you can do is you can take the bottom 4 strings and play it like this. Or you can take the top 4 strings and with your pinky mute this A string so it sounds like this. Okay, so like there's a song that I play where I start with a G and then go to that G7. And remember, this is actually because I'm slid up, so G, G sharp, A sharp, B. So I'm on the 4th fret, which makes it a B. So I'm playing like a B, B7 with a G shape, right? So then let's look at the E, which we've already done. So you take E and you can play it like this. Or if you remember that F shape that I showed you a little bit ago, you can play your bar chords like that. And if you want, you can even use your thumb to wrap around and grab that full bar chord. And then the final one is D. Now you could do this, or you could just play these bottom 3 strings, or what I sometimes do is I play this power chord. So I only play these 3 strings. Okay, so those are your 5 basic bar chord shapes. Now what you can do is you can learn how to play a chord all the way up and down the neck so that you become more familiar with it. So you can take a C and then play the A shape, but in a C. So it's gonna look like this. Okay, now play the G, then the E, and then the D. Okay, so C, A, G, E, D. Okay, so the cool thing about CAGED is the word CAGED is actually reverse alphabetical, which is exactly what you need if you're trying to play the CAGED system up the fretboard. So for example, if we started in E, okay, and we wanted to play the CAGED, we would go E. Now we find the D shape, which is the next note in CAGED. Okay, and then we restart back to the C, and then to the A, to the G, to the E. Okay, so there you have it. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. I'm going to do a couple more videos on this topic down the road here. Just some other cool tips that I found as I've learned CAGED and been figuring it out. So it's pretty straightforward. What I would suggest is just picking a note and finding it in all the 5 shapes all the way up and down the fretboard just to become familiar with it. And even I would suggest not playing with a capo. So 2 years ago or something, I decided to quit playing with a capo on my electric guitar just to force myself to play something different. And it's been really good. I've really gotten familiar with CAGED and really learned it well. So if you find that the capo is holding you back, then just get rid of it for a year and see what happens. So again, thank you for watching, and as always, have a great week, and we will be here next week.